There are moments in life when the soul feels weary of waiting. You pray, you cry, you hope, and yet the silence of heaven feels too long. But God wants you to know today that what you've been praying for, what your heart has been aching for, is not forgotten. He has heard every whisper, every tear that fell in secret, every lonely night you endured, believing in the promise that love, true love, will one day find you. When God says your spouse will be your answered prayer, He is not speaking of ordinary love. He is speaking of a divine alignment, a union crafted in heaven before the foundation of time. This kind of love is not born from lust, nor driven by mere attraction, but from destiny. A love that carries purpose, healing, and ministry. You may have thought God was silent. You may have looked at others being loved, cherished, and chosen, and wondered if God had forgotten you. But the Lord whispers to your heart today, I have not forgotten. I was preparing the one who will pray with you, not prey on you. The one who will build with you, not break you. The one who will see you through the eyes of purpose, not convenience. The waiting was not punishment. It was preparation. You were not being delayed. You were being developed. God needed to mold your heart, heal your wounds, and strengthen your spirit before introducing you to someone who is not just a partner in life, but a partner in destiny. Sometimes the people you thought were the one were lessons in disguise. They were chapters in your preparation, not mistakes, but teachers. God used every heartbreak, every disappointment to refine your discernment so you can now recognize what is real. You've been through seasons where love felt like war, where trust was shattered, where your spirit questioned its own worth. But God was working even there, pulling you from imitation so you could receive authenticity. The person He is preparing for you is not coming to complete you. They are coming to complement the completeness God already placed within you. This is not about two broken people hoping to fix each other. It's about two whole souls, healed by grace, finding purpose in union. When God sends your spouse, they won't bring confusion. They'll bring clarity. They won't pull you away from God. They'll push you closer to Him. You will feel peace, not pressure. You will feel stillness, not striving. Because what comes from God carries His signature, peace that surpasses understanding. God says, "Do not rush what I am perfecting." The reason you have waited this long is because He is writing a story that cannot be rushed. He is aligning your steps with divine timing, ensuring that every detail matches His plan. Sometimes you had to walk alone so that you would never confuse loneliness with love. Sometimes you had to lose the wrong person to recognize the right one when they come. Your spouse is being refined too. Somewhere right now, they are learning patience, faith, and surrender just as you are. They are being prepared to love you the way you deserve, the way heaven designed. Their heart is being softened by prayer. Their spirit is being disciplined by waiting. God is shaping their path to meet yours at the appointed time, and when it happens, you won't have to force anything. The connection will feel divinely natural, like two puzzle pieces finally fitting after years of wandering. You may not see it yet, but behind the scenes, God is orchestrating encounters. He is aligning divine connections, redirecting wrong turns, and restoring what was lost. Every delay, every detour, every heartbreak has been part of a grander plan. He is not late. He is intentional. You will look back one day and thank Him for every unanswered prayer that protected you. You'll realize why it had to take this long. Because God wasn't just preparing your spouse, He was preparing you for them. There were things you needed to outgrow, insecurities you needed to release, lessons you needed to learn. Love built on immaturity cannot endure storms, but love rooted in faith stands firm. The love that's coming will not drain you. It will restore you. It will not confuse you. It will clarify God's promises. You will no longer question your worth because your spouse will see you through the eyes of heaven. They will not need to be convinced of your value. They will recognize it instantly because God has already spoken your name into their spirit. Do not let the enemy deceive you with counterfeits. Before the true one arrives, distractions will come. People who look right but aren't right will appear to test your discernment. The enemy sends imitations before God sends manifestation. That's why you must stay anchored in prayer. Your discernment is your shield. God says, "Stay pure in heart, for your purity is what attracts your promise." Do not give up on love just because the world has abused it. Real love still exists. Not the kind displayed in temporary attraction, but the kind that mirrors Christ and the church. A love that prays, forgives, endures, and uplifts. When your spouse comes, you will understand why God made you wait. They will not only love you, they will intercede for you. They will not just hold your hand, they will guard your soul. You will build together, dream together, and worship together. Your love will not be a competition, but a covenant. There will be no need to chase, beg, or prove. What is divine is never forced. What is meant for you will recognize you. Your spirit will know before your mind understands. Because when it's God's timing, everything aligns without striving. You may have been single for longer than you expected, but you are not forgotten. You are hidden for the right eyes to see you at the right time. Just as Ruth was hidden until Boaz saw her, so are you being kept for the one who will honor your worth. You do not need to advertise yourself to be found. You only need to stay faithful where you are. The blessing of divine marriage is not for those who chase love, but for those who chase God. Because when you chase God, love finds you on the way. Your focus should not be finding the one, but becoming the one that God has called you to be. When you become aligned with His will, the right person naturally aligns with you. Do not fear that you are too late. Love does not expire with time. It matures with grace. Abraham was old when the promise manifested. Sarah laughed at the possibility, yet God fulfilled it. If He could bring Isaac in their old age, He can bring your spouse in perfect time. The delay is not denial, it's divine design. You are not being punished for your past. You are being positioned for a future that exceeds your prayers. The pain of your previous relationships was not wasted. It was the soil where God planted wisdom. And now, that wisdom will help you steward the love He is sending. When you finally meet your spouse, you will know it is different. It won't feel rushed. It won't feel uncertain. It will feel peaceful, steady, and sacred. You'll sense God's presence in your connection. You'll feel your spirit settle. You'll understand that this is not just love. It's purpose meeting purpose. And when you look into their eyes, you'll realize every tear, every lonely night, every prayer was worth it. Because God does not give you what is good. He gives you what is divine. Your spouse will be the answer to prayers you forgot you prayed. They will carry traits you asked for and even the ones you didn't know you needed. They will love you in your language, heal what you never voiced, and walk with you through both laughter and storms. They will be an instrument of God's grace, not to replace Him, but to remind you that His promises never fail. So keep your faith alive. Keep your heart open. Keep your spirit ready. Because when God says your spouse will be your answered prayer, He means it. The story may have started with waiting, but it will end with fulfillment. The same God who brought Eve to Adam, who united Ruth and Boaz, who aligned Mary and Joseph, is still writing love stories that glorify his name. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are right on schedule for a love that will reflect heaven on earth. And when it comes, it will not just bless your heart, it will bless generations after you. There is something sacred about divine timing. It is not just about waiting, it is about becoming. God does not simply bring you a spouse when you ask. He brings them when you are ready to handle the weight of the blessing. Because true love is not light. It carries responsibility, maturity, and spiritual depth. It requires you to die to pride, to selfishness, to impatience, and to fear. That is why God's preparation often feels like delay, but in truth, it is divine construction. He is building you into a vessel capable of carrying his promise without breaking under its beauty. You cannot receive what you are not prepared to sustain. Many pray for marriage, but few prepare for covenant. Many desire love, but do not nurture endurance. Marriage is not an escape from loneliness. It is an assignment of love and leadership. That is why God sometimes isolates you, so you can learn to depend on him before depending on another. The wilderness was not meant to harm you. It was meant to teach you how to hear his voice clearly, so that when your spouse arrives, you can recognize divine confirmation over emotional excitement. Your spouse is not coming to fix your loneliness. They are coming to partner with your purpose. The loneliness was never a curse. It was the classroom where you learned intimacy with God. He needed to be your first love so that no human could ever take his place. You had to learn that wholeness is not found in another person but in his presence. Because if you don't learn to be fulfilled in God first, you will demand from your spouse what only God can give. So, God keeps you hidden until your heart no longer seeks validation from man, but peace from him. He watches to see when you stop chasing people and start chasing purpose. That's when he begins to align the path, because your spouse is also walking that same journey of surrender. You are being prepared in parallel. Some days, the waiting feels unbearable. You may look at the silence and wonder if heaven forgot your address. But the truth is, the silence is not absence. It's strategy. When God is quiet, he is often the most active. He is rearranging destinies, rewriting paths, and pruning relationships that cannot walk with you into your next chapter. The pruning hurts because it feels like loss, but in reality, it's protection. You are not losing. You are being preserved. You see, what God is preparing for you is sacred. And sacred things take time. You cannot microwave a covenant. You cannot rush divine alignment. God works in seasons, not seconds. Every delay you've experienced is connected to divine coordination. Someone's heart, someone's obedience, someone's maturity being shaped to fit perfectly into your destiny. Think of Joseph. He waited through betrayal, false accusation, and imprisonment, yet every moment led him closer to purpose. Imagine if God had brought his promise too soon. He would have been unready. The same applies to you. The delay is not a denial. It's divine synchronization. The person God is preparing for you will recognize your soul because their spirit has been praying for yours. There will be no need for pretense. You won't have to shrink who you are to fit their expectations. With them, your authenticity will feel like peace. Your truth will feel like home. God says, "You are not hard to love. You were just loving in the wrong environment." The wrong people couldn't recognize your worth because their hearts were never trained to value what heaven sent. But the right person will see you through the lens of destiny. They will not compare you to their past. They will cover you with prayer. They will not run when life gets difficult. They will stand and fight with faith. Your spouse will be an intercessor, not an oppressor. They will carry your name in prayer, not in gossip. They will protect your weaknesses and celebrate your growth. They will remind you that you are not alone in the calling God placed over your life. Their love will feel like partnership, not performance. You have been through seasons where love felt like endurance, where you gave your all and received little in return. But God says, that was not in vain. You had to experience counterfeit love to appreciate covenant love. You had to walk through heartbreak to understand healing. The pain purified your perception. It taught you to distinguish between attention and affection, between temporary pleasure and eternal purpose. And now, as you rise from the ashes of what once broke you, God whispers, this time, it will be different. Because now you know who you are. You no longer beg for love. You embody it. You no longer chase validation. You carry divine confidence. You have learned that being alone with God is not emptiness, it's empowerment. When your spouse arrives, you will meet them as a whole person, not a wounded one. You will love from fullness, not from fear. You will not cling in desperation. You will connect in faith. That is what makes this next chapter different. It's not built on need, but on purpose. Every season of isolation was a seed. Every tear watered your future joy. Every unanswered prayer became a foundation stone for a marriage that will be unshakable. Because this time, your love story will not be built on attraction, but on assignment. It will not just make you happy, it will make you holy. The world teaches love through feelings, but heaven defines love through faithfulness. God's kind of love is not about fleeting emotions. It's about covenant commitment. The person He is sending you will not walk away when storms come. They will anchor you in prayer when you are weary. They will remind you of God's promises when your faith shakes. You will see the reflection of Christ's love in their consistency. And you, too, will be ready to love them back in the same way, not for their perfection, but for their purpose. You will love them with grace, patience, and truth, because you will understand that marriage is not about perfection, but about partnership in spiritual growth. So if you are still waiting, hold on. Your story is not over. You are not forgotten. You are being written into something eternal. And when the page turns, everything will make sense. God's timing is mysterious, but it is never mistaken. When He moves, everything aligns. Hearts, seasons, opportunities, and peace. Your spouse will come not when you are tired of waiting, but when you are fully surrendered. Because divine love is not earned by effort. It is revealed through surrender. When you stop trying to write your own script and hand God the pen, He writes something beyond imagination. One day you will look across the room and see the one God kept for you. You will feel it, not as fireworks, but as stillness. You will sense the quiet confirmation of heaven whispering, "This is the one." And in that moment, you will know that God is faithful. You will realize that every lonely night, every unanswered question, every tear was leading you here. The road was not easy, but it was worth it. Because what God gives is never fragile. It endures. It grows stronger with time. It reflects His glory. Your spouse will not only love you, they will help you fulfill your calling. Together, you will pray, build, serve, and shine. Your home will be a ministry of peace. Your union will heal others by example. You will be living proof that God still answers prayers. The beauty of God's promise is that it comes wrapped in peace, not pressure. It comes in alignment, not anxiety. When you meet the one, you will not question if they love you. You will feel it in their actions. You will see it in how they honor God before they try to win your heart. So don't give up. Don't settle for less because of impatience. The one God has for you will be worth every moment of waiting. When he says, your spouse will be your answered prayer, he means that this love will glorify him, not distract you from him. Even now, heaven is aligning paths. Two lives, two stories, two souls, walking separately but being guided toward each other by unseen hands. It's not a coincidence. It's covenant in the making. There comes a point in the waiting when your heart stops asking when and begins saying thank you. That's when the shift happens. When your spirit no longer measures God's faithfulness by timelines, but by trust. Heaven begins to move faster than you expect. Because faith is not about seeing signs. It's about standing still while believing that even the silence is working for your good. God's promise for your marriage is not something you will have to chase. It's something that will find you while you are walking faithfully in purpose. The story of Isaac and Rebekah was not orchestrated by chance. It was guided by obedience. Abraham's servant prayed, and Rebekah appeared at the right moment with the right heart. That is how God operates. He positions people by purity and purpose, not popularity. There are things that only obedience unlocks. Your spouse is not hidden from you by distance, but by timing. And timing responds to obedience. Every step of surrender you take moves you closer to destiny. That's why God calls you to forgive, to release, to heal, to grow. Because those are the steps that lead to divine connection. Some of you are carrying old wounds that still speak louder than faith. You still remember the rejection, the betrayal, the heartbreak that made you question if love is even real. But God wants to heal those parts before he releases your promise. Because if he gave it to you now, pain would poison what he meant to bless. You cannot build a covenant on an unhealed foundation. That's why he insists on your healing. Healing is not forgetting. It's freeing. It's when your past no longer dictates how you love. It's when you stop viewing new people through the lens of old pain. It's when you realize that the same God who allowed heartbreak will also orchestrate healing. And through that healing, your heart becomes ready to receive a love that doesn't hurt to hold. God says your spouse will be your answered prayer, not your repeated pain. You will not relive old patterns. You will not keep giving yourself to people who only take. You will not settle for temporary affection that fades with time. This time it will be different, because it will be divine. The person he is sending you will understand your silence. They will read your emotions not through assumption, but through discernment. They will speak life over your dreams. They will not be intimidated by your purpose. They will nurture it. They will not compete with your calling. They will complement it. You will pray together. You will cry together. You will grow together. And in your togetherness, you will glorify God. The world will look at your union and see the reflection of God's covenant. Not perfection, but perseverance through grace. That is what makes heaven's love stories different. They don't begin with fireworks. They begin with peace. They don't rely on feelings. They are rooted in faith. They don't fade when emotions change. They grow deeper through storms. This time you will not have to fight for attention. You will be pursued with honor. You will be valued, respected, and cherished, not because of what you can do, but because of who you are in Christ. God has been shaping someone's heart to see you the way he sees you, not through flaws, but through favor. The right person will speak your spiritual language. They will understand your need for prayer, your hunger for purpose, your commitment to growth. They will not mock your faith or your discipline. They will join it, because they will be sent from the same God you serve. Do not be surprised if, before the promise arrives, you are tested in patience and purity. Every great promise is preceded by a great test. God will see if you can trust his timing without forcing his hand. Can you remain faithful when it seems nothing is happening? Can you still praise when you feel overlooked? That is the faith that unlocks fulfillment. The enemy will always try to interrupt your alignment before it manifests. He will send distractions, counterfeits, and emotional storms. He knows that if you marry wrong, your destiny will struggle. But if you marry right, your ministry will flourish. That's why discernment is your protection. Not everyone who speaks sweetly carries pure intentions. Not every opportunity is divine. That is why you must let God choose. When God chooses, he sees beyond looks, status, or charm. He chooses based on purpose. He pairs souls that carry mutual assignments. He unites people who will sharpen each other's faith. He joins hearts that will build altars, not platforms. You have prayed long enough. Now prepare. Start becoming the spouse you are praying for. Be the one who loves with integrity, forgives quickly, prays consistently, and listens deeply. Because divine love doesn't wait for perfection. It meets preparation. When your spouse finally comes, it will not feel like a new beginning. It will feel like coming home. You will look at them and feel peace settle over your heart. You will recognize that this love did not come from striving. It came from surrender. You'll understand that every chapter of loneliness was leading you to this peace. The relationship will not be a storm. It will be a sanctuary. Together, you will face battles, but you will face them hand in hand. You will laugh through tears. You will pray through pain. You will build something eternal on the foundation of faith. Your spouse will see your scars and still call you chosen. They will not flinch at your past. They will see it as the evidence of God's mercy. Their love will feel like redemption, not because they replace God, but because they reflect Him. That is the beauty of a divine match. It doesn't just satisfy your heart, it revives your spirit. It reminds you that God was always writing your story, even in seasons that felt like silence. Every unanswered prayer was a redirection toward a better ending. When God finally reveals this person, you will not need to explain why it feels different. Your peace will speak for itself. People around you will notice that you are glowing differently, laughing freely, loving fearlessly. Because divine love doesn't just give joy, it gives rest. And through your marriage, others will be inspired to believe again. You will become a living testimony that God still answers prayers, that pure love still exists, that waiting on God is never wasted. You will walk side by side through purpose. You will raise prayers, not arguments. You will plant seeds of hope wherever you go. You will show the world that love rooted in Christ cannot be shaken by time, distance, or circumstance. That's why the wait was worth it. Because what you are about to receive is not a replacement for what you lost. It's a reward for what you endured. You did not go through pain for nothing. Every heartbreak purified your vision. Every lonely night trained your faith. And now heaven is saying, it's time. God says your spouse will be your answered prayer. Not just an answer to loneliness, but an answer to purpose. Not just an answer to desire, but an answer to destiny. Together, you will serve, you will grow, and you will shine. This is the kind of love that wakes up gratitude, not anxiety. The kind of love that builds peace, not pressure. The kind of love that looks like worship, because it honors God above all. When you stand beside them, you will realize why every delay had to happen. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. It wasn't punishment. It was positioning. God was saving you for each other. And when you finally say your vows, heaven will smile, because another divine covenant will be sealed on earth. The kind that restores hope in those who stopped believing. The kind that reminds the world that love, when guided by God, still wins. So keep believing, keep preparing, keep walking faithfully in purpose. Because your answered prayer is not coming. It's already on its way. If these words speak to your heart, open it with faith. Breathe and whisper, I receive this divine love. Believe that your waiting is ending and your new season is beginning. Like this message, comment I receive my answered prayer and subscribe for more words of divine encouragement. Your peace matters, your journey is sacred, and your love story, it's being written by the hands of God.